Investigative reporter Chelsea Brentzel was the one who found it and the first to notify the public. So Chelsea, what have you learned today?
So here's the question before the judge. Is a police officer who shoots and kills somebody entitled to a self-defense argument that would drop a murder charge? It appears to have gone unnoticed by those in power. That's until we discovered the illegal chemical releases and told you about it. We can prove that some public officials had a much more complete picture about the potential dangers at the school. But if there's one conservative Republican who doesn't care what anyone, including the president, thinks, it's Roy Moore.
The winter snow here in Minnesota, the problems in Lawrence County aren't going away anytime soon.
We just received a copy of Huntsville police officer William Darby's 31-page request. Essentially, Darby is asking the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals to overrule Judge John Apate's decision to deny him immunity in his murder case. Homeowners tell me that the inside is a war zone, but luckily they were not inside, and that's because they made the decision 30 minutes before the storm took this path to go to their neighbor's home and get in the basement. Why then did it take me finding documents for the public to be made aware that 3M was violating federal law for 10 years by releasing toxic chemicals into the Tennessee River with ADEM's approval?
I want to show you something that's pretty significant. Since that report aired, look at what they did. They installed a privacy fence here.
Give you a glimpse of what we're tracking out here. Raindrops are starting to fall down. We have seen some lightning strikes. We're going to be here at the courthouse when he makes that change of plea, and we'll continue to bring you the very latest. We're talking about 3M in Decatur. It's the same company, the West Morgan East Lawrence Water Authority, is suing to clean up the drinking water. But now it looks like the company has another cleanup on its hands.
I'm not very happy about this.
Peter Harding has lived off County Road 222 in Lawrence County for 20 years.
I came home from work one night and found that my neighbors were moving in the middle of the night, and I was unaware of why they were doing that.
According to online records, those neighbors found industrial waste on their property in 2017. Chemical manufacturing giant 3M bought the land from them for almost $550,000 in August 2018. Assessment records indicate what 3M paid for it is $333,000 more than the assessed value of the 11-acre property. About a month ago, residents who live nearby got this postcard from 3M with a brief explanation of what was happening.
Undisclosed dump site, and then if I had any questions, there was a number that I could contact them.
3M says industrial waste from the 1970s and 80s was disposed of here.
Well, that tells you that people knew that it was here. Somebody knew that it was here. Someone got paid to put that here.
Now, this property isn't the only piece of land 3M bought in Lawrence County in 2018. 3M also purchased this 20-acre property on County Road 358 for $167,000. Neighbors who live around these properties are frustrated. No one from the state of Alabama has contacted them.
What kind of effect does this have on me and my family here, And apparently it seems like nobody's concerned about that.
We reached out to the Alabama Department of Environmental Management about what they were doing about these undisclosed dump sites. A spokesperson for the agency tells us ADEM is aware of the properties 3M bought. They tell us 3M is conducting environmental assessments of the properties and is supposed to keep ADEM in the loop about what they find. You may remember 3M underreported to ADEM the amount of chemicals the company was dumping into the Tennessee River for 3 years.
I expect protections from the state and representatives that I vote for, and I'm not getting that.
I talked with a 3M spokesperson this week. They tell me the company is working with ADEM to investigate the properties. 3M intends to remediate the site and contact any other companies who may have dumped waste on those properties. The company said they don't know how long the site investigations will take. In the newsroom, Chelsea Brentzel, WHNT News 19.
How does a woman just vanish out of thin air in midday?
That question
on a public street without anyone seeing anything
has haunted Mary Faye Hunter's family, including nephew James Hunter, since she disappeared.
Luckily, we were able to recover these.
Brad Golson, Hunter's distant cousin, has studied the case for 2 years. He created a timeline by talking to witnesses and former investigators. On May 6, 1967, Mary Faye left her parents' home on 8th Avenue in southeast Decatur.
To a place called the House of Beauty to get her hair done. And according to the hairstylist, everything was normal.
The 34-year-old Redstone Arsenal receptionist left her weekly hair appointment and went to a grocery store.
Witnesses verify that she was at the A&P. She did purchase instant potatoes, and she left.
That's the last time Golson can pinpoint she was seen alive.
We're only talking maybe 30 minutes. She's late, and her parents were already contacting the authorities because it was so unlike her.
5 months later, on October 14th, 1967, 2 young girls found Hunter's remains near Flint Creek. No one was ever arrested for her murder, no suspects publicly identified.
It's really sort of heartbreaking.
Fast forward to today, the case remains unsolved. It's not clear where police case files are, if they even exist 52 years after. And what's more, it's a mystery as to who should be investigating Mary Faye's death. This is the last known footage of Mary Faye Hunter, shot a week before she disappeared in 1967. The video is clearly aging. It's fuzzy and fading. So are the official details on the investigation into her murder. Decatur police say it's a state case, and state investigators say it's Decatur PD's. According to Decatur Daily newspaper reports, around the time of her death, investigators indicated Hunter had been sexually molested or assaulted. Decades later, her autopsy report does still exist, but both James Hunter and Brad Golson say getting hands on it has been a challenge. The man who can approve releasing those files, Morgan County District Attorney Scott Anderson.
I was 2 years old when this happened.
D.A. Anderson says he remembers talk of the town about the case while he was growing up.
The theories, the rumors that were going around about who did it, who may have done it, and they're still floating around today.
Anderson has jurisdiction to prosecute Mary Faye's case and says his office has a file on it.
What's the status of the case?
It is technically is under investigation. Now, I'm not saying that there is an active investigation going on. There's not.
But Anderson admits over time, police files have disappeared.
Evidence that had been collected sometimes goes missing just because agencies change evidence rooms or change buildings and things have to get transferred. A lot of times those things get lost in the transfer.
Lost, damaged, or destroyed files are problematic for prosecutors in cases like this one.
Do you think it's likely that this case will be prosecuted?
No.
Still, Anderson says he won't release the autopsy report. He says it could be the only way to verify the truth if someone steps forward confessing Mary Faye's murder.
What is in there that we're not supposed to see?
James and Brad believe the case is already compromised, and giving them the autopsy report won't impact it. As Mary Faye's case remains unsolved, her family holds on to pictures, this ever-fading footage, and hope.
I'd like to see the case closed. I'd like to see it actually formally solved and closed.
Here's to hope. In Decatur, Chelsea Brentzel, WHNT News 19. The symptoms of type 1 diabetes can be a challenge for those living with it, but the people I've met with the condition overcome their challenges with courage, passion, and
you're a turd.
Lots of personality.
Like you are being right now.
That's certainly true of Taylor Coram and Ivy Anderson.
We had seen it on the news the night before.
Taylor's mother, Christy Hall, says when her 10-year-old heard of Ivy's sudden passing, she wanted to know more about Ivy and who she was. Taylor soon learned she and Ivy shared a common challenge. Both of them were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as young children.
I deal with the same struggles
every 5 minutes.
Checking blood sugar, giving insulin shots, and managing what they eat becomes normal routine.
It's finally pretty outside, and I am enjoying it.
Ivy didn't allow her diabetes to get in the way of what she wanted to accomplish.
Yee.
Neither does Taylor. The young girl is a quarter-midget race car driver, and when she went to the track on Saturday, she only had one thing on her mind.
She wanted to race really hard for Ivy.
To WHNT and the whole crew and her family and everybody who knew her and was good friends with her, because I thought it would be special and in memory of her.
On Saturday night, Taylor duct taped a photo of Ivy on her car before her races at the track in Huntsville. In the first race,
she was about half a lap down, and she kind of came on a storm and started really making up time and sucked up on the car, but she could never pass it. She tried and tried, but she could never get opening to pass the girl.
Her mother tried to console Taylor after the loss.
And she turned around and she looked at me, she said, "You just don't understand. I want to win that trophy for Ivy."
And nothing was going to get in the way of her goal. Taylor's family, friends, and little mascot Blue cheered her on from the stands. She made some adjustments to her driving for the second race.
She changed a lot of things that we didn't think were going to work, and we were trying to get her attention, and she was telling us no, that she knew what she was doing.
And she knew who she was doing it for.
Oh, I think everybody in that place was amazed because, you know, Taylor did something we didn't think she would do.
She won.
It felt good because I got to stand on my car, and I remember looking down and I saw her face and her camera, and she just looked so happy in the picture, and I imagined her being happy in the place she is now.
All that was left was the victory lap. First to WH&T, and then to Taylor's home. Her home on Ivy Meadow Circle. Taylor was gracious enough to leave the trophy here at the station to watch over us. But she's ordering magnets for her car to honor Ivy through the rest of the season. She's got more races to win. Because good racers don't let up. And the best ones, they're fueled by purpose and joy.
Yeah, y'all.
All the way across the finish line. With love, Chelsea Brentzel, WH&T News 19.